Hey, welcome to Agent of Aquarius, episode 16. 16?
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Uh, Wait, it could be, I don't know. Welcome to Agents of Aquarius episode. I'm the Jim Pine. I'm here with my
Matty
man.
D again.
Yes. And we've been having incredible conversations before this started, but we can't talk about those things on here because YouTube will ban us. Um, but just the here we are. Here we are, the
Here we are.
end of 2023, getting ready to go into the year of the election, 2024. Um, fuck.
Why don't you want to tap dance around that guy getting prosecuted? We don't have to get too deep
I
into
do
it.
want to I can't because I was just about to pull it up, but he had first of all, he hasn't been prosecuted.
Yeah.
So somebody might have had charges against him, but I don't even have their name, dude. I don't think. Hold on, let me see if it even has their name. It doesn't tell me who the article's from. Okay, I'm gonna read this. This is I don't know how. Whatever. Article reads: First world leader faces murder charges over vaccine deaths. Roberto Speranza of Italy has been charged with homicide. Emails has shown that he let people take the jab after he knew that people were dying and being injured. Dude, this is not.
That might not be news.
It's news because I saw it on another article. Also, this one just doesn't lead me to a full article, which then makes me nervous to I mean, like, I don't know what we
Well,
it
how
would
about
be
this? Maybe
interesting if
someone
things are
should be.
getting out there. Yeah, well, we definitely think that. We definitely think that people should be prosecuted. I think the first up on that would be um Tony, big Tony. I would take him down first. Um yeah.
Yeah, could I throw something in about this topic? So the Cupid that was supposed to keep you healthy and safe. There was a Pfizer executive in front of the European Parliament who blatantly just said when they asked this person, "Hey, you're a Pfizer exec. Did you test that thing for transmission?" And her answer was like, "No, absolutely not. We were in a big hurry. We couldn't do that." It's like, hold on a second. So all those people who were talking about this thing, someone like our boy Tony, he read. He must have been read in about those. What do they call it? The trials. And if Pfizer never tested the thing for transmission, it would be in the report about the trials, and he would have been read in on that. So when that guy comes out and says, "Hey, if you take the thing, you don't have to worry about Cupid," that would be a lie. So why isn't that guy held to account? Well, because he's part of the system. But that's a simple reason why you can hold someone to account.
Yeah, well, we have a two-tiered system so that like people aren't yeah, that's just the way it is right now. Hopefully we're going to see a change. It seems like there are small changes. There's been a big movement with whistleblowers in all facets. Some of that with some of the facets of whistleblowers, I believe, is disinformation or misinformation, specifically with the UAPs, UFOs, all that. Like that seems like they're fucking stringing us along. But in the medical industry, there are whistleblowers that have been coming forward and of course discredited to all levels, but are coming forward and they don't have a gripe. Like they're just trying to tell what they saw. They're not like, oh, I got fired for this. Like straight just people coming out. I mean, Assange dropped I don't know that he did. I
Hammer.
shouldn't say that. Well, he dropped the rest of the
Shut the fucking hammer.
WikiLeaks dropped, right?
Yeah, the people at WikiLeaks, not him specifically, they've released all their files. Like, hey, here's everything. How about it? Which is a ballsy move. I mean, that who knows what the rationale was behind it, but they did it. I looked at the files. You looked at the files.
Yeah, I did. There were some fucking crazy ones like Hillary's emails. I wish I still had that.
Podesta's
I
emails.
wish I still had it up. I don't think I have it to get to it. I don't.
That's okay. But this little story blurb we saw it'll be interesting to find out if there's any truth behind it, that some world leader is going to get before a judge because of their behaviors during that whole thing. That's a little spot of light on the horizon. I mean, that I think that would be, we know that would be great. But if this is something other than a bullshit story, we'll see it play out in the back corners of the internet and like independent media, and it'll get, you know, barely any coverage from mainstream. But if it's there and it happens, hell yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, we seem to be in some type of age of discovery, age of like I don't want to just say like awakening, but awakening meaning that it seems like certain information is coming forth from whistleblowers. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I the other day I kind of like was memorizing it, but John F. Kennedy's speech, or part of his speech about a month before he dies, where he says, "The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open nation. Um, as a people, we are inherently or historically and inherently opposed to secret programs, secret oaths, and secret proceedings.
Mm.
Our way of life." I'm sorry, not our way of life. Our way of life. We are at war. No, what is it? I forget the last part.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. So, that's the part, the secrecy. Why? Like, oh, okay. And I understand why. I've become read in on understanding why we have to have secrets, national secrets, military secrets. But here we are. It's like secrets of information, secrets of history. That's where we are. This is where, like, at episode 15, if that's where we're at, episode 16, it's we're finally at the like what's up with all the secrets.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of something we come back to every episode, is like what's up with these secrets, and the secrets create a wall, like and that wall is a delineation between people that have this knowledge, lots of it ancient knowledge. It has nothing to do with modern day technology. It's ancient knowledge, and they hold it and they keep it, and then they obscure and they change history so that it doesn't reflect on true perspectives of the time or overlying perspectives or realities of the time, but just one way to paint the story so that they can have their next narrative directed. And these are the problems. That is what he said. He doesn't say about the industrial. He says that in other times. He talks about the intelligence agencies, but it's the truth is secrets are the problem. That's the problem with our intelligence agencies. What's up with all the fucking secrets? Knock it off. You're not better than anybody else. We got to stop. Open source at all. The whole thing needs to be open sourced. Because it's like the ownership of things is like it's just and I'm
no,
not
in a
trying to
sane society,
socialize. Yeah, I'm not trying to
most
be a
of what,
socialist. But
yeah, in a sane society, a lot of what they do would be open to the public, open to public scrutiny. They will be open to persecution and prosecution if they break laws. As it is now, they're not. But we know these organizations are up to no good, and they always fall back on, oh, national security. We can't tell you because it'll undermine the safety of ordinary Americans if we let this out. It's like, no, you're full of shit. You're just covering because you know you're up to no good.
we have to stop that right there. Like, you know what? This is, I guess, just kind of dawning on me. Like, I'm often like thinking, like, how do we do this? How do we get through? How do we? I mean, I don't know what battle it is even to win, but like, how do we do this? And I think that's the first part would be like, let's get rid of all the secrets. How about that? How about we start with, we open it all up, get rid of the secrets. We need to know the true history of man. We got to know if we were manipulated. How did we get here? You're telling one story, and then that story is science, and nobody can argue it, of evolution. I mean,
Except that's how science works.
yeah, but no
You're supposed
matter
to
what,
argue it.
it's some type of evolution anyway in the process of us, because we're here now. But it's with the Giants. Why you got to lie about that? It's with the, it's like just lies, lies, lies.
The age of the ancient monuments. That's a dumb one. Like, what the fuck you holding on to that for?
But
Is it
we,
going to change anyone's life, or will people in general give a shit if the pyramid was 5,000 years older than we currently think it is?
or we find out who actually built it.
This goes back to that thing we talk about, how these ruling class societies are into occult shit because it really means something to them. The true history of things like ancient monuments or giants, it means something to them because they've gone to great lengths to modify that history. So it begs the question: if you are talking about secret occult minded organizations, why do they care about things like giants and monuments?
Because the knowledge they hold, the secret knowledge they hold, is powerful.
It's so funny. Like, most people would give zero fucks about something like that. They don't care about the UFOs. The UFO thing seems like, I think you were hinting at this earlier, like that's just something to keep people like us occupied. They meter out this bullshit story from the military, and all their little jets got their cameras on something, and then they talk about it. And meanwhile, we're not talking about the economics of our culture and our government and our way of doing business. Something that will change everyone's lives. If a UFO flies over my city tonight or your city tonight, people are going to talk about it, but absolutely nothing will change. But if people collectively learn, the influence of the Federal Reserve and credit creation and shit like that, things that will actually change your culture or your society and possibly make things way better, you're not going to learn that. You're not going to see that on the news. You're going to see the bullshit about UFOs.
I mean, the very fact that if you have a credit card or you buy a house, you're borrowing this money, or it's said that you're borrowing money, but nobody has it. But then you got to pay interest to somebody for somebody that doesn't even have something. They just have the ability to make it up and give it to you.
Right. Like, they got the contract. They never
Yeah.
had to earn money to lend me.
Yeah, they don't hold the asset of that money. Like, they hand you, here's a bag of money. Like, no. And it's not even like, oh, because it's all done digitally, Jim. Like, their money that they're holding is there. It's like, no, they can just make money up out of thin air and then loan it, and then have a real house at the end of the day. If that person doesn't pay, they get that. Like, it's fucking wild, bro.
And if they do pay, they get 30 years worth of interest.
But that's usury, right? That's the whole idea of usury, is this like fake system of money.
Usury is technically, I believe, a high rate of interest. Like, having low and fair rates of interest, I think that's a community accepted idea. But when you're talking high interest rates, that's where it becomes a crime, which is in this case a crime of usury, which of course is not a crime anymore.
I don't know that it's at high levels. I'm going to be honest with you. And first of all, that's a subjective term.
Yeah, sure.
Because 1.5% could be a high level.
I guess it depends on your subjectivity on the topic, because
I thought the idea of usury was if you loan money and get money in return for the money. Like, if I loan you money, but then I'm not just getting the money I loaned you back, I'm getting more money back. I thought that's the usury principle. That's the Babylonian money magic.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Maybe I'm wrong on what constitutes usury. It could be all interest in general, because in all honesty, a state-run federal bank should be lending money to create growth, and it doesn't need to get anything in return for it. That's what the private bankers do. They are collecting interest. But a state-run central, people have been convinced that this is like a bad thing, that the state runs the central bank. They think, oh no, you can have private bankers doing it because that's how the system works best, which is a bunch of horseshit. The fact that people actually believe that in and of itself is an anomaly. But no, really, if the state ran the central banks, they could inject money into business sectors that are ripe for growth and can give direct benefit to the population at large. And those businesses can pay back those loans at 0% interest. And that's how it works. Credit creation is what makes economies function and grow. A central bank gives a business a loan to be paid back over a course of years. The business takes that money, they create a business, they make a profit, they pay back the loan over 5, 10 years or whatever, and they pay it back at 0% interest, so they're not getting raked over the coals. And then once the loan is paid back, the bank erases it from their balance sheet. It's like they inject money into the economy, you stimulate business, and when the loan is paid back, you wipe it clear and you're back to zero on that loan. So there's less threat of interest because you're not leaving that money in the economy. You've balanced out the balance sheet, you balanced out the loan. So you don't have to worry about the inflation that might come from putting too much money into an economy. The way it works now, though, is these fucking people who run these banks, they inject money where it suits them so that they could get profit for themselves, and then leave critical sectors of the American economy without the credit to build businesses. It's a fucking racket. It's a bunch of private bankers who own our central bank, and they manage it to keep us all broke.
All right. First of all, fix your camera. It's blurry. Second of all, you're correct. Usury, noun, the illegal action or practice of lending money at unreasonably high rates of interest. Archaic, interest at unreasonably high rates. So that's, you were 100% nailed it.
Thank you. Am I still blurry?
Nope, you're less blurry. You were correct, but blurry.
Yeah, well, how did we get onto banks? Let's get away from
Secrets.
banks.
Well, we were talking about
Secrets, yeah.
secrets.
Who was he talking
Secrets.
to? A press corps, wasn't he? Like a bunch of reporters when he gave that speech?
Secrets. The press corps, I believe. I mean, that's
Yeah,
the speech where he goes deeper into what are he goes deeper into like who's keeping the secrets later in that speech. And it's about a month later on November 22nd, 1963 that he dies.
Well, what drives me nuts about the people who try to debunk that, who say, no, he's not talking about secret societies, you nitwit. He's talking about the communists. He's not. Trust me, he's not, because everyone openly talked about the communists. McCarthy was throwing people in jail over communists. The communist threat was everything. And JFK doesn't mention communism once in that speech. He specifically says secret societies with their own armies, with their own Navy and Air Force, with their own resources, with this, that, and the other. He's like, these organizations are undermining our society. He never once mentions communism. And if he wanted to, it would have been the easiest thing in the world, because it's all people in that era would talk about is the communist threat. So when you hear someone try to debunk that speech and say it's just about communism, don't ever listen to him. That's horse shit.
Yeah, he's literally talking about the intelligence agencies and the apparatuses that used and direct the intelligence agencies is what he was talking about.
You also think he was talking about things, groups like Skull and Bones, don't you? Because that's a very commonly known secret society.
I just said them, basically.
Oh, you did? Did I not hear that?
Well, I just said he's talking about the intelligence agencies and the secret groups that influence and direct the intelligence agencies.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So that's Skull and Bones, Freemasons, like Illuminati, down the line of just name your favorite secret organization, and they are usually tied to the intelligence agency, because now it seems like we're kind of onto right now is because holding the secrets, that's everything. That goes into the blackmail, because first of all, you get to not give people the truth, and then second, they're gonna lead that to dark areas of blackmail, not just obfuscation of the truth by keeping secrets and leaving information out, but then they're going to start making secrets for people to now control people. That's who it is. And it's scary, but this has been going on. People, when they act in the shadows and they act in secret, out of secret, you end up with problems when they think they're protecting the tribe, but it's like, no, you're just trying to protect what your narrative is directed towards. So today's program is about secrets.
I think in a healthy society, the majority of people would want to know where power is and how their society is actually run. You think it's just propaganda that keeps the majority of people in this country and Western culture not giving a fuck?
Yeah, bread and circus.
Bread and circus is right.
Entertainment, dude. Keep people working, keep them working really hard, but then just look at the United States of America. People put like, oh, that tastes good over like like you're 400 pounds. Maybe worrying about taste isn't the most important thing right now. Maybe you should start getting your diet in order so you don't so you can live. So you
Yeah,
can actually
forget
live a
400
life.
pounds, just eating a bag of chips and drinking a soda. That like these are really bad for you. They're honest to God poisons.
Yeah,
They're
but
just slow acting.
you can eat a bag of chips. You can have a soda.
Well,
You,
yeah, of course, there's a
you can just
level of ingesting poison you can do.
well, yeah, because depending on your body and your immune system, how high functioning it is, and what the poison is, versus your body type and how your body can process these things. Absolutely. Even if your body can process them, it's moderation. You can have
Yeah.
Doritos. It's just
No,
know
believe
that
me,
when you're
bro.
having them, you're eating like all kinds of bad, harmful chemicals, possibly. But
I measured out as I'm eating and shopping where I'll go to the store and be like, I would prefer to buy organic, whatever, but they don't have it. I'm making this dish, I'll get the non-organic
mhm.
or whatever it is. Like I'll measure out in my shopping and eating habits how much of the bad shit I'm going to ingest because I quite frankly don't have the resources to go 100% clean.
Well, I'm pointing out the extreme when I say 400 pounds and just crushing bad food, because that person's immune system is already in a state of alarm and is
Yeah,
probably suffering a bunch of physical conditions
mhm.
because of as a result of that. That's why I bring it up. I'm bringing up the extreme, like a car that's got a lot of alarm systems on.
Fair, fair. And how'd we land here again?
And
We're
I'm
talking the secret societies. Or finish your thought, brother.
well, that's just the idea that here we are in America, land of the free, home of the brave, and then people are just eating themselves to death out of like their ego. That tastes good. Oh, I like that taste.
Hmm.
Oh, I like to drink Red Bulls or what. Like people that just crush these things and it's like a habit, but like it's really, like if you're wondering why you have red blotchy skin, like maybe looking like, are you drinking lots of energy drinks? Are you bringing like these certain like people just think that that's how their bodies are, and that's in the difference in Ayurveda, Prakruti and Prakriti. One is your state that you should be operating at, and that's how you want to adjust people when you're looking at them to like get them back to balance. And then the other one is that people, this is the state they're in currently right now, and that unfortunately people start to think the state that they're currently in is the state that this is just the way it is, being like, oh well, I have this thing, I have
Hmm.
this mental condition, I have this physical, I have eczema, or I have this whatever physical ailment happening, I have arthritis. It's like, well, it could be your diet.
Heck yeah.
And I got to hear, because I was just talking about in America just how we're, yeah, I don't fucking know how I got here,
Well,
dude.
bro, that's you know what? You know what? I love where he took it because I want to run with it for a second. That's that original narrative control messaging. This is just the way it is. And we haven't talked about this in a long time, but this country is highly propagandized. It really is. You got to look into it and understand it. But if you control people's narrative about how they think of the world, then you're going to control the world. And this business of obfuscating, for lack of a better word that's used earlier, the truth of how this place is run, yeah, it's the truth is being obfuscated about how this place is run, but also there's another message being delivered at the same time. And the propaganda says this is how it's always been. It evolved this way naturally, and it's just the way it is, and you could do nothing to change it. That is like the first lie of narrative control for the people in the in Western society, or maybe worldwide. I don't really know, but I know it's sure a thing in this country. And that's just like the first lie. This is just the way it is. Your body's not that way because that's the way your body is. It's not your genetics. It is your diet. It is your um the environmental impact of like where you live and what's around you and what you're ingesting. That's where it starts.
Oh, I thought the mute was on the whole time. I
I think it
coughed.
was.
I coughed directly into it was. I thought it was off, and I just went to hit the cough button, but it was muted, and then I just coughed directly in the mic. Sorry, everyone.
Hey, I don't know
Um,
what you're coughing
well, I
from. I
think
don't
that
know anything about that.
I think this leads us to a homework assignment that was given to me earlier this week by a listener. They made a request, and they said this really popular. I don't know when this will come out. It'll come out the day it does.
Wait, you're saying
And
we have a listener? That's
yes,
fantastic.
we have one listener, and we have at least one listener. Um, the person asked us, "Hey, can you guys watch this new program that had like gotten real hot within 1 week? I'd never heard of it, and then within 1 week, it's all over Instagram. It's all over everywhere. People are talking about it. On Netflix. There's a movie called Leave the World Behind, and I think it's
Ooh.
produced. Is it produced by Obama? Is he like the money
Yeah,
behind it?
he's definitely involved. I think he was the money behind it.
Um, so this person said, "Hey, can you guys watch it and then talk about it on the program?" I brought it up to you. We were talking the other day, and I brought it up to you, and then you said, "All right, perfect." And then you were like, "Here's my Netflix account." So I don't have Netflix. So I was like, "All right, this is gonna happen." And then
Yep.
you have some free time in the bunker apparently. So you jumped right on it, kind of,
I
and
did my homework.
you did. You watched it like right away. Like that day, you watched it within
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
And you did not say this to me. I don't remember what you exactly said, so I probably should look at our text. Um, you didn't say, well, okay, yeah, you did. Well, you didn't say I shouldn't watch it, but you didn't have high words for it. And so I did not watch it. So here we are. We're going to talk about it. I have no idea, except for the clips I've seen or what people have talked about. You've seen it.
Yeah, I
You're
did.
like, save your time.
Save your fucking time. Yeah. This is one of those things where I thought, oh, let me watch what that ruling class culture is putting out, because might be some messaging in there. There might be some tip the cards, reveal some secrets. I was like, yeah, I should watch this movie because I want to see what the fuck they're up to. Well, trust me, anyone who's listening, don't waste your time. It's a fucking piece of shit garbage movie. There's nothing to be learned from it. And I'll tell you why. But in a nutshell, it just sucked. It sucked on so many levels. And yeah, I wouldn't even say watch it to see what they're telling you, because here, look, the first thing that's going to drive you nuts is the fucking stupidity of the cliches that are in there. Like, of course, the white guy is this bumbling, dumb idiot who actually has a line in a movie where he says, "Without my cell phone and GPS, I'm worthless," which is so pitiful. It's so fucking pitiful and such a cliche. And of course, the person of color is this strong, intelligent, bold person, fucking works out and all this shit. Again, it's like I like that character. But again, it's just a cliche when you juxtapose that with this moronic white guy. Um, the kids are in their own cliches, the messaging that they put in there, like literally side by side, the two children wearing t-shirts. And I sent you a picture of this. These two children in the show are both wearing t-shirts next to each other. On the one where you read from left to right, on the left it says "Obey," and it has that picture of Andre the Giant, that company, like it used to be a skate company or something. But they in red letters, "Obey." And then standing right next to him is his sister, and her shirt says NASA. And it's like, all right, I don't know if you're saying "Obey" NASA, but in classic They Live style, you've got the "Obey" message in there. Give me a fucking break. And then you have NASA in there, like, oh God, I have faith in our space agency because there's something good there. No, there's not. But here's I'll try to wrap this up. But the movie basically gives you something to freak out about, and then it reinforces heavily this idea that you can't rely on anyone else. You can't trust your neighbor. You can't trust your neighbor. No one's going to help you. You're in it on your own, and this collapse of society means everyone is your enemy. It's just a stupid divide and conquer propaganda trip, and there's nothing productive to be learned from it. It was a garbage shit show.
Okay. 141 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Okay. You want to know the release date?
Oh yeah.
Do you want to guess the release date?
Well, September 11th is too far back. Oh wait, when did Kennedy get killed? Was it November 22nd?
He was killed 11/22/1963. So
Mm-hmm.
that was 60 years ago. We did an episode about that. I don't even know if it's out yet, but we did. And so do you want to take a guess on the release date?
Uh, uh, um, well, it's 2023. Is it November 22nd?
Yeah.
11/22?
Yeah.
No shit. They released it on the day Kennedy got killed.
Well, 60 years later.
6 years to the day Netflix thought, let's just do that.
60 years later, this is produced. It's produced by Higher Ground Productions, Ismail Corp, and Red Alm Films and Netflix Studios. Sam Esmail is the director. A family vacationing on Long Island is interrupted by two strangers bearing news of a blackout. As the threat grows, both families must decide how to best survive this potential crisis, all while grappling with their own place in this collapsing world. It has 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb and 75% on Rotten Tomatoes. That is my. We don't care about the cast. None of that matters. Yeah, man. Hey, man.
Well, I think I'm going with 1 star.
Okay, so you're good, but you're gonna even give it a star. All right.
That's the lowest you can
Um,
go. You can't do 0 stars when you make a review.
we can do whatever we want here on our own movie reviews. You
Zero
could.
stars.
I will. Because a lot of times they'll do a quote. For the
Uh,
part of the review. So I will do a quote. I didn't contact the person to see if it's okay, but so I just quote. So I just finished watching it, and no, that movie's nothing but trash.
Whoever could have said that eloquent thought.
I don't know if that sounded familiar at all, but yeah, that's the quote I got for it.
Yeah, it's really not even worth watching. It's like don't waste your time. The cliches, the repeated messaging, the fear that you've been fed already 100 times, and this like message drilled into your head that you cannot trust your neighbor because we know in this day and age, your neighbor is the enemy. They are the bad guy. It's the person on the other side of the political divide. It has nothing to do with the ruling class and the people who control this country. We don't talk about them. We just talk about that fucking Trump person, that fucking liberal, yeah, it's like enough. Don't waste your time watching that. But how about this? I got a great idea. How about get to know your neighbor, whoever they are? And I'm not great at this. Like I know their names, but we don't hang out, we don't grill together, but I know who they are. Um, what I would love to tell someone on the political left is your best ally in making a good society around all of you is to talk to that person who is a Republican or a Trumper. And I want to tell those Republicans from Trump people, it's like no matter what contempt you throw at the people on the left, and you like to make fun of their hair and their ideals and things like that, trust me, Trump person, that is your best ally in making your world a better place because both sides are fucked, both sides are getting beat down, both sides are being led through a relentless propaganda campaign to hate each other. As soon as you can figure out that person on the other side of the political divide or the other side of the racial divide or the sexual divide or religious divide, as soon as you find out that that's your real ally, the one who has the most in common with you, because you're a part of a steadily degrading culture and a steadily degraded financial security and all these things that are assaulting our culture. It's affecting everyone, and that's your real ally. Get over the divide and conquer shit. Don't listen to shows like Leave the World Behind. Take some time to bridge the divide and start talking to the people you really need as an ally. And that's the person on the other side of the political divide.
Well, we will. People will do that. The moment they're forced into it, it'll definitely happen, or it will start to happen. In larger cities, not as much so because it's totally different dynamic. But like specifically where I live in northern San Diego, it's like I already know all my neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like communicate with them only because since COVID, Cupid, whatever, since that happened, like I just it's just everything seems a little, I don't know. I don't know if it's just me affected. I'm not sure, but I'm not blaming anybody else.
Are you
But
feeling a little less social these days?
yeah, 100%. Um, but which I'm not so like I do a lot of really social things. I have a lot of events in my life that are social, or I have some that are social, and I participate in. But when the hits the fan, it will go that way. They're gonna lose their programming, and then I don't know what takes over then. But if the electric goes out, they don't get to keep doing the bullshit.
Oh, that's a good point.
Like that, they
Yeah.
also know they lose that. They lose the monitor on everybody. They lose the programming that they get to use like over and over into the bullshit. I've been sneaking it into my comedy a little bit more lately. You just like where it used to be more uncomfortable and finding better ways to say things like about people like, oh yeah, and then people didn't want to, maybe people are getting sick of being in the military, and they're like, I don't want to fight for bankers. And then
Yeah.
like starting to get some more people that'll laugh a little bit each time, like, all right, we're getting there. But so they make this movie. This movie comes out. Everybody's kind of talking about it. And
Everybody's phone
it's
stopped
just
working in the movie.
like it's just that me and you have been studying these guys for nearly 30, or not these guys, but we've been studying what's been events and things we've been curious about. We've been studying for 30 years nearly. Like we
Yeah.
are coming up on the 30-year anniversary soon. And
It
uh
happens to be next year. 1994 is the year.
yeah, that would
And
be
the
when it
30-year
starts.
anniversary is next year. A pivotal year,
So
probably.
we've been looking, the Federal Reserve, I've been aware of what that was since the mid 90s. So a lot of people just don't even think of that way. It's not even their lexicon. It's not in their way of thinking. It's like, oh yeah, it is centralized bank. And oh yeah, that really does matter. And oh, it's a really big deal that like some private bankers have now created an entity that loans the money to this nation. And then we have to pay interest back, which is like nearly half of the money the IRS collects goes to pay interest.
Yeah.
We're paying
Say the number. How
interest.
much do we pay on interest every year to the national debt?
You had the number. It was a trillion.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Think about
And
that. How much is the military budget?
I they don't know. They don't they I can tell you they don't know
Well,
where the money's at.
I think what they broadcast and what they tell people is something like $876 billion a year is our crazy bloated military budget. Now we're talking about the interest on the national debt that the American public pays every year is $1 trillion. And people think about that, I assume, in a way that says, well, we're paying interest on the debt. Got it. But do they think the next step to who are we paying the interest to? Because that's
Private bankers.
private bankers. Yeah.
People that don't even have that wealth to loan to us, yet they can loan it to us at usury and
Because it's a fiat currency, right?
yeah, and collect money off of it. And that's a crazy number. Like maybe the interest rate's not crazy, but $1 trillion a year in interest, like your money that you've loaned out is producing $1 trillion back to you.
Yeah, dude. And I got to do it because I love the game. Favorite game. Bear with me. How many days is 1 million seconds? 11 and a half days. How many years is 1 billion seconds?
You can't hear it.
Sorry, 31 years, right? That's the
Yeah.
difference between a million and a billion.
A million is 11 days.
Yeah,
A billion of something, if it was in seconds, it would be
31
31
years.
years.
Yeah. Now a trillion. Remember your high school math. How many billions are in a trillion? Or bet,
1,000.
yeah, 1,000. So 31,000 years of seconds is what that number means. And that stopped making sense. Like I
It
could
doesn't
get
make
the difference.
sense.
I could get the difference between 11 days and 31 years. I've lived more
Yeah.
than 31 years. I get it.
The crazy thing
But
is we're only talking about millions.
yeah,
That was only
yeah,
broken down to the million. That's not even broken down to what a trillion really means.
yeah. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, where does this $1 trillion? Because remember this, back in like 2010, we were paying something like 300 billion in interest on our national debt to private bankers.
Mhm.
Now it's up to $1 trillion a year.
But now we're
And
also at 33 trillion in debt.
we're 33
34.
trillion in debt.
So I mean, we weren't like, dude, it's once again to who?
Yeah,
And they don't have it to even loan to us, but they just put it into some digital universe and then it becomes a
yeah,
thing. And then we are like, that's you're bought and sold. You
yeah.
are owned now by whoever that you owe a trillion to for
To
interest.
fucking bankers
For interest.
for interest. Yeah. And look, bro, if I had all that banker money and I had every politician in my pocket, I would make sure they never do anything about the national debt. I'll make sure that they constantly raise the debt ceiling and make sure they always make a fuss about how important it is to keep our economy going. We have to raise the debt. I mean, our politicians have raised the debt to $33 trillion. That's not because we needed the money. It's because they overinflated every project they could think of and they extracted as much wealth as they could for the American people and they dumped as much debt on us as they possibly could. So that debt generates this $1 trillion a year in interest for a group of private individuals who are taking the American people's money. You want to talk about what you need to get an alliance on with your Trump neighbor or your liberal neighbor? There you go.
Wow. Yeah. Well, if they keep us divided, we won't talk about this shit. And people are like, all right, yeah, but what am I supposed to do about that?
Yeah.
Like,
Remember, our
pay
media doesn't talk
attention.
about it either.
Yeah. Well, because the media is owned by them. But, and when we say them, how are they owned by them, Jim? You just like say, because their money is invested into these giant corporations like BlackRock. Their money is invested in these giant corporations, Vanguard. Their money
Yeah.
is there. That money is power and influence because those corporations then own media outlets. Then they just tell them what to fucking do. This isn't about like everything going on is a distraction. Ukraine distraction so that they could blow up the bioweapon labs that were there that we weren't supposed to really know about that Hunter Biden was like funding through Seneca.
Yeah.
His
That's a real
company.
thing.
Like that's we're like just to destabilize and also and fuck with Russia. That's all that's being done
Well, we
for.
blew up that pipeline too, so that Europe can't get cheap natural gas. They got to buy gas from us at 4 times the rate.
And then said Russia did it. It's like literally we are Russian disinformation. Like, how scared are the Russian people of us? They must be fucking so scared because of what their government also does propaganda against them, just like ours does against us, because we've already
Yes.
covered it because of the Smith Modernization Act done in 2013 and passed by Mr. Barack Hussein Obama, where the United States government can now take tax money and use it propaganda, not for the good, but just for the narrative that they got to create, the story and the lies they got to protect because they're all about fucking secrets. So, here we are again. This happens every fucking week where it's just like, damn, I think we're just like, wow, we're presenting a lot of, well, this isn't going to get any better. I can't even, I'm going to have to save that video. We're doing that behind the paywall. First of all, I'm not even doing the Solomon Brothers building here. But where's the bright light? Where's not bright light? Where's the silver lining? Where's the how do we
Love
get
your
out of
neighbor.
this? How do we get out of this and go to and then we'll move over to Patreon. That will get up someday, I promise. Um how do we do that, Matt? Where's the give me the silver lining.
Love your neighbor. You don't have to love them even. Just understand that the person of another political bent than you, the person of another race than you, that's your ally because everyone is being pushed in the same direction. And that phrase, like, oh, love the neighbor, it sounds stupid to me just because it's not part of my lexicon. But yeah, how do you get out of it? Well, a great thing to do is start listening to the other side's messaging and then get to know the other side, whatever that side is. If that's the person who's, like I said, on the other side of a racial divide, a political divide, start looking at their media and messaging and start to find some common ground. You want to get out of this? Make friends with your opposition because they're not really your opposition. You're just being charged up to think they are. Love thy neighbor, Agent Pine.
Yeah, I mean, love is a pretty big word. Understand the enemy, first of all. If you think you have an enemy,
Mm-hmm.
learn about them. You and I, at some point in time, were probably Democrats.
Yes, 100%.
Not even like super crazy liberal Democrats. I'm definitely more libertarian. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what all these things mean, but we're not any of that anymore because we found that they're titles that didn't suit us because we started looking into the broader world. We stopped just listening to what one thing was telling us and started to try to understand the enemy in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we specifically thought it was that in the beginning, but we started to try to understand and learn about things because these instead of you just shunning because it's something you like. I'm just ideologically cannot agree with a person that does or says that or thinks that.
Mm-hmm.
We've become very volatile, and I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to come a moment in time, uh, and it's going to be. It's somebody should do it as there should be a skit created. To be honest with you, it would be a really funny skit, like a little comedy program, where like shit does hit the fan, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, it's probably what the movie's going to be about. Oh my god, this is probably what the movie's about, and I don't even know. Okay, so shit hits the fan, right? And this is to me, this is I started thinking of this when you were talking earlier. I was like, oh my god, this would be very comical. And I was like, shit hits the fan. Okay, shit hit the fan. Got it. And then these people that like are just like never Trump, no Trump. Like they just have this weird hatred, this like crazy hatred for this perceived demon, right?
Yeah.
The Trump, like yeah, Nazi, like like they have like it's like crazy how like programmed they are, and then they then shit hits the fan in this little, and they then because they don't believe in guns and they don't really but their crazy neighbor who they've gone out and torn his signs down and done all this, and he's just like don't fuck with me kind of person that they're gonna need to go to him because he's gonna have food and he's gonna have, because they just order out every night, and
Bravo.
they because they don't have food in the house because they just get home because they work these lives, and why would I do that? I'm not gonna cook. I just want to Uber Eats it, baby. Uber Eats, and then they do their Uber Eats dance and they start drinking the red wine, and then the power's out, and then they don't have any food. And they do see there's like they have some cranberries left over from Thanksgiving that are canned, and there's some cream corn. And then they also don't have dog food because that's auto shipped, and it's supposed to be here tomorrow. So they got 1 day's worth of dog food, and then they're gonna rely on their crazy Trump neighbor. Like this guy
Mhm.
now is like the epitome of Trump because he does wear the red hat, which is obnoxious. But because he's so sick of it all. He's so sick of, men in a girl's bathroom. He's so sick of
It's
fucking
classically
men completing a
disenfranchised
sport.
from,
He's
yeah.
broken because he's a critical thinker, and he doesn't know like he just sees this world falling apart that he went to war for and was in Vietnam for, and he doesn't know anything better. Now he fucking doesn't even like that he has to support this fucking guy Donald Trump because he doesn't even agree with like him really, because he knows he used to be a fucking Democrat that was like and just said I'd always run as a Republican because they're fucking dumb and they'll listen to anything. And he knows all this, but he believes that this nation can't lose its way, because if it loses its way and it loses the Constitution, then it loses everything, and that's why he does it. But he gives them food, and he's
And in this movie,
yeah.
enter Kevin Bacon, ladies and gentlemen, with a with a beard, gray. His beard's all gray. He wears a beat up old Dallas Cowboys ball cap, and he talks
Boo.
kind of like a country guy, but he lives in a really fucking rich, exclusive North Long Island neighborhood, right outside the city.
Okay.
And he's your You know, they never say anything about Trump or this guy's politics, but he's from Texas. He's kind of country. He's got his beer. He's got a shotgun. He's prepared. He's a prepper. You're goddamn right. He's exactly what you just described. He's that guy. And the fucking other people on the other side of the town, they are the ones who ripped up his signs that he had, his political signs in the yard. I'm sure that was in the background story that didn't make it in the movie. But yeah, all this is 100% correct. The movie is that cliched and that fucking annoying that we could sit here having never seen it and you could tell me what the plot is. You did.
Well, they've done civil experiments to understand what will happen. Because it goes now. They're like, oh, we don't even have to invade. If we could just cut the power, we can get them to pretty much take each other out.
That's what all the commercials for the movie said. The snips
Is
people
that
put on social media.
Is that what
That's
okay,
exactly
I
what
don't even know, but that's well, no, that's just a tactic. Like that's how you can
Yeah.
like you can
That's what the
destabilize a
movie is.
country. Yeah, you can destabilize a country in many ways. One's with an economy, the
Yeah.
other, or just attacking its like vital infrastructure, like electricity, things of that nature.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
that's-
There's your thing. Don't fall for dumb movies and get to know your neighbors.
Oh wait, do I just stop it?